Social information processing theory. The tradition of this theory is associative psychological, which leads to a cause and effect relationships. The context is interpersonal and the paradigm is subjective. So I decided to include the key concepts, the impression management, too, because it does relate a lot to the situation that I will speak about with my close friends' relationship and the theory. I do think these concepts do have a lot to do with how you portray yourself, especially on social media. How you really are is the actual self, who we are. The ideal self is who we would like to be, which some people may portray themselves as who they would like to be observed as or described as online, for example, like on Instagram or on Facebook, on YouTube, any social media platform. And the odd self is who society thinks we should be. And that's also very relevant with how we portray ourselves on social media. Or it could also be dating apps, which also leads to people online dating. So I will go more in depth as I speak about my friend's situation and how this all relates to that as well. Warranting. So, low warrant and the high warrant, I do think this plays a role when people are online dating because when you're online dating, you may not know this person, so you will speak highly about yourself, which is low warrant, is what you say about yourself, and high warrant is what others say about you. So, with online dating, you don't really have a high warrant unless you're online dating someone and you may have mutual friends with this person, then they can hear what others say about you, regardless if you guys are online dating. But I do think that the low warrant is mainly used in online dating. And I will also go more in depth with this as I ask my questions to my friend. The old school versus a hyper personal perspective. These two perspectives are very opposite. Um, Many people may agree more with the old school perspective than the hyper personal. But the old school perspective is people cannot date online. Nothing intimate is possible. And the hyper personal perspective is people can develop more intimate relationships online than those face to face. I've never experienced personally dating someone online, so I would agree more with the old school perspective. I don't believe that online dating could be more intimate than face to face. But as my friend Jacob, who has experienced online dating, he may be more on the hyper personal perspective side because he has developed a strong relationship and emotions and feelings were experienced in this online dating experience that he had. So it really just depends on who you are dating and what type of connection you have with someone. And I will also go more in depth as I talk more about my friend Jake and his experience. There are three assumptions for the social information processing theory. The first assumption is CMC provides unique opportunities to connect with people. People are motivated to present themselves in strategic ways online, is the second one. And the third one is online relationships have the same capacity to become intimate as those formed face to face. So I will be asking my friend Jacob questions about his relationship he developed online. Jacob lives in Florida and his girlfriend lives in California. He has been having issues with his girlfriend, so it's very accurate to what the professor was asking for in the instructions. He has been very dissatisfied with the girl he has been dating for the past 5 years. And my assumption kind of does not agree with it having the same capacity to become more intimate as was formed face to face, because I do believe that the online relationship has been dissatisfying due to the fact that it's not face to face. So Jacob and his girlfriend, they have had some very strong emotional breakdowns through video chats, and I have seen their emotional side, which I find very interesting due to them being online relationship. I will go more in depth with everything once I ask the questions in the next slide. Questions to my friend Jacob. Now, I did ask my friend these questions through our FaceTime call to see his perspective on the entire online relationship. The first question that I asked would be, did you think Naomi, which is his girlfriend, was the same way she portrayed herself online in person when you met her? Now, Naomi lives in California, as I mentioned before, so they have met at least twice or three times when they in the entire relationship. The second question is, would you say you had more intimacy with in a deeper relationship with Naomi than any girlfriend you did not date online? So I was referring to his relationships that he has developed at his workplace and here in Florida, who he has seen these past girlfriends frequently every day, compared to Naomi, who has been living in California. The third question is, did you change the way you portrayed yourself online, specifically just for her? Now, I asked this question to go more in depth with the theory that the professor explains in the lectures. People are motivated to present themselves in strategic ways online. I wanted to see if his girlfriend specifically motivated him to present himself in a different way. I did leave out the information that they are both from my church. We have a church in California as well, so that is how they met, was through online mutual friends from our church. So because they are both from the same church, I wanted to see if he changed himself online due to their religious beliefs, to their religious expectations in Christianity, rather than portraying himself as something that a religious girl would not go for. And the fourth question was, what was said about you to her from their mutual online friends. Now, the fourth question will relate more to the warranty. So, as I mentioned before, the low warrant is what you say about yourself. So, in most online relationships, it is mainly low warrant because you would assume they won't really hear from other people since you are only an online relationship. But in this case with Jacob and Naomi, they did have many online mutual friends. The ones in California, the ones in Florida. So Jacob would have a chance in high warrant here. He would have to know what others said about him to her. So I wanted to go more in depth in that as well to see if anything was different to what he said about himself and to kind of go more in depth with that theory as well. So there will be two sets of answers. The first set of answers would be the set that I would think of what my friend Jacob would answer, and the second set of answers would be his actual answers when I asked him. I want to see which set of answers will confirm or disconfirm the theory more. So the first question I asked, or that I have, would be when you met your girlfriend Naomi, did you think she was the same way she portrayed herself online in person? And I would assume that he would answer yes. She's very open on social media, so I would assume he would say she was as open in person, outgoing, talkative. And the second question is, do you think you had more intimacy and deeper relationship with Naomi than any other girlfriend you dated here? From my personal observations, I would assume he would say yes, because he was the girl that he was with for the longest time. He was with her for 5 years, so he hasn't had a longer relationship than that. And that is the only reason why I would assume he would think it was a deeper relationship. The third question is, how did you portray yourself online for her? And in my opinion, I do think that he became a little more religious online, maybe because that is a common thing they had with each other, and a very important moral value that they had with each other as well. The fourth question is, what was said about you to her from mutual online friends? I would say that based on the warranting, what he would say about himself, it would obviously be something good about himself. Online mutual friends and friends that live here that may have spoken to her online may have said different things due to the fact that they do live here in Florida with him and are able to observe his actions, his everyday hobbies, and everyday do's, and are able to tell her otherwise about him. So the second set of answers is what he answered when I asked him the questions. I do think my first set of answers do not really go with the theory. I'm kind of more not very into the social information processing theory when I give my set of answers, because the assumptions are more people are motivated to present themselves in strategic ways online. That's something I may agree with, but the online relationships have the same capacity to become intimate as those formed face to face. My set of answers may not go with the theory itself. Because I do think the theory of social information processing theory, it's more about online dating. It's more about the pros of online dating. It's more intimate. It's the channel management, the senders, the receivers with the hyper-personal perspective side. And that is something that I do not really agree with online dating. So the set of answers from Jacob is, I did ask him the set of answers. Right now, he's not in a very good place with his girlfriend. After 5 years, he will officially break up with her. And it will make sense once I state his answers. Now, the first question is, when you met Naomi, did you think she was the same way she portrayed herself online in person? Jacob's answer was that she was very outgoing, very bubbly, and the way she is online is that she posts a lot, as in pictures and stories. She's very open online, and she was very open in person and very social as well. So that kind of confirms the theory of the oppression management. She actually portrays her actual self online rather than her ideal self or her hot self. So I found that very interesting. The second question is, do you think you had more intimacy and a deeper relationship with Naomi than any other girlfriend you have dated here at home? He answered that he obviously had more intimate moments with girlfriends that he saw face to face every day. He developed more intimacy with girlfriends he saw every day because it was more physical than emotional. He did compare it to online dating. He mentioned that it was a deeper relationship online because it's more about emotions, and inside it's more about your soul than your physical appearance when you're online dating. And that is why he thinks it was a deeper relationship, because they spoke every day, they were more emotional, and they only saw each other about 3 to 5 times within the 5 years that he would visit. So they would only see each other once a year. And that kind of, to me, it brought me back to the assumption, it confirmed the assumption that online relationships have the same capacity to become intimate as those formed face to face. And the third question is, how did you portray yourself online for her? He did mention that because she is more religious than he is, he became more religious online, was more careful about what he posted. No profanity, nothing that is not classy or religious. And that he became more interested in music to play for church. So that also confirms that people are more motivated to present themselves in ways online. And in this case, it was for a specific person. And the fourth question is, what was said about you to her from mutual online friends? And unfortunately, he said that it was more negative sayings from other friends than what he would say about himself. So that was a very low warrant versus high warrant situation. And he